It is I, Tentus Naravan Dracovin, Lord and Emperor of the Dracovin Empire, and welcome. It is time to continue my discussion on Werewolf the Apocalypse and the World of Darkness. Where we last left off, we were talking about some basics of character creation. Let's talk about some more important things. Some background information. A couple questions that you want to answer to help your storyteller include you into the world and possibly add story hooks in that have a personal touch to them. This is important information in that way and others because it helps establish where you are within this universe. Well, let's talk about these. First off, how old are you? How long since you first changed? These are two important questions defining effectively the kind of experience your characters have had. Now, you don't necessarily need to set dates to anything in particular, especially when we're talking about something with the prelude. Probably around the time of the prelude or after it is when you're going to establish most of the time frame of things, the actual dates of these things occurring. But up until then, just giving a general idea of how long things have been is important. The example of the first change is actually something that is very important to becoming an adult within garou society. Now, the fact is, though, the first change could occur well into adulthood for some garou, some werewolves. But most of them change in their adolescence. For a human, this is around 11 or 12. For a wolf, this is around 2 or 3 years old. Regardless, afterwards, every garou ages just like a human, regardless if they started out as a wolf or a human. Now here's an interesting one. What was your family like? Did they treat you well? Did they shun you? Was your home life idyllic? These questions help define the basic initial raising of your character. The fact is, because of rage and it being in place in many young garou even before their changes, the fact is very few of them have any kind of idyllic lifestyle to begin with, and most of them have very troubled times that have problems with their families before they would go on to joining garou society. So there is this definition of maybe you had that idyllic life and got lucky, or maybe there was some troubles to it and you can reflect in it. And it reflects not only how you connect to human society, but also possibly wolf society. That maybe the pack you were born into shunned you also. These, because of your combative nature, because of the rage. So you can see it works on both human and wolf ends. Now we do dive into when was your first change? Did anybody see you change? And what kind of things happened when you changed? The fact is, the first change is oftentimes unexpected, and a garou will shift into Krynos. That's usually the normal form that they will shift into. And oftentimes they will be out of their own control, and things may happen. So, though you may have this kind of mindset of what occurred, you might not have been in your control or in your right mindset. The rage may have taken you, and you can recognize the terrible things that you may have done about part of that first change. It might seem like it was a very terrible thing for you, though it is indeed a great sign for garou society. Maybe very bad things happen that were part of your backstory that makes you regret a little bit your change, even though, you usually enjoy the fact that you've dived into this new greater society that you're a member of. There's that kind of juxtaposition that you can put into your character very easily this way. When did you meet the other members of your pack? Where was this? What kind of meaning it is? These are things that'll help to define the pack as a whole and your inclusion into it and how you joined in with the packs. Be general. Now, this isn't to say there might be rivalries within the pack itself. This can occur, and you can establish this within the way you're setting things up. But try to be as inclusive and cooperative as possible, because the sheer fact, if some kind of problems occurs within the packs that your characters start fighting it out, that's player conflict that will exist too. The fact is, there's almost no way that if you're getting angry for your character, you can't get angry at the other person. And you don't want to be screaming at each other for like an hour in and out of game at the same time. It's not fun. So trying to minimize the possibility of this inter-party conflict is for the best. Doesn't mean you can't have a little bit of tension or rivalries or anything like that. But minimize that within the pack, and this is when we're really starting to talk about that. Where do you live now? Do you live in a cairn? Do you live in an apartment in a small town? Maybe an apartment in a city even. Or maybe a cabin in the middle of the woods. All of these are very decent possibilities for your garou character. Because of the nature of many different types of garou, you could have a place you live anywhere virtually. Whatever you feel is appropriate for your character and what you would have adopted as a place to actually exist within various societies. Your choice. Here's an important one. How do you interact with normal people or wolves and their societies? Or is it possible that some non-garou kinfolk might know that you're a werewolf? This is very important because it's establishing your society-based relationships, that it's possible that garou society might not look well upon in the first place. But these are the relationships that you've built up either from your time before you became a garou, or since then that you're developing this group of people that you have relationships with. Maybe they don't know you're a garou. Maybe they're kinfolk, like a brother who holds the bloodline, but isn't a garou himself. But maybe he knows about them. That can happen, especially there are bloodlines that are aware of the fact that garou are out there. On the other hand, there could be just maybe humans that you have connection with that maybe during your change, they were able to withstand it. There are humans that don't go into delirium. Rare as it may be, some don't. So they recognize you for what you are. And you could have built relationships around that and too. So it's important to define, you've already defined your garou relationships with your pack and stuff. But this is defining your relationships on a personal level with those non-garou, who are oftentimes, of course, NPCs, but they are a linking to your character's overall existence. It's also important to note that more than likely, when you changed and your tribe adopted you, the fact is most of the time they watch a lot of their kinfolk, so they might have been there to bring you in. So you would have had that initial sort of grabbing and bringing into the society even at that point in time, and it's kind of interesting that you can develop this juxtaposition between the mortals, the humans and wolves, and the garou, and the relationships you have with both of those. And it can help really define your character from your pack and your tribe, the people that brought you into being a werewolf and the people that stay by your side, to those of what your normal life might be. And this gets to our last one. What motivation might you have? Do you seek wisdom? Do you seek glory? Do you seek adventure? Maybe you seek an opportunity that you can become, effectively leave the conflict of garou and just be like a normal person. Maybe that's your goal and you just haven't had a chance to because of obligations you have to your tribe and your pack, and just leaving them alone feels wrong. But it's what you want to be able to say and do. It's like you want to, I've done enough, I can leave you. So you can see there are these motivations that you can have for a lot of different reasons, and this motivation for why your character does what they do is important. Now, there is some unique factors when we talk about Werewolf as a role-playing game systems. Most role-playing game systems are about beating the enemies and gaining more power. And in fact, Werewolf is that to a degree. You're never playing against the other players, though. You're always attempting to work with them, and that is where we get into the most key aspect of garou society, the most critical unit within them, the pack. The pack is the connection between a small group of characters, a small group of people, of garou, that work together for the same kind of goals, with similar enemies, allies, glory, reputation. The pack itself is almost its own living entity, that it has all of these factors to itself that you might have individually, but your pack also might have them, that it's got its own level of glory, its own reputation, own allies and enemies, that you personally might, oh, I know a guy over there, a garou over there that I'm friends with. Maybe not be friends with my pack, but friends with me personally. Or you could have some kind of elder that's allied with your pack for some reason that you helped him out in the past. So you can see these relationships can not only exist with your players, but with your pack itself. So your pack takes on an entity. And the advantage of the pack, too, in this circumstances, is should the unthinkable happen and one of the characters die, the pack will live on. The pack will remember that character, will have a memory of that player and keep it going. And another could join in with the pack and take their place, i.e. that player could easily come up with a replacement character as long as the pack itself survives. So indeed, it is a unit of grouping your characters but it is also a joint character that all of your players will be sharing in amongst each other, and they should treat it accordingly because of this. They should treat it like it's just another player that all of them are working together to build. So that's it for today, though. I first talked about a number of questions that you can answer to help define your character more. From how old you are, when you changed, the kind of circumstances of that change, how your family life was like. All these little details that adding them together is not only going to help you define your character more, but a lot of them are help your storyteller add story hooks in that may hook your character into whatever plot they're writing. Whatever plot they're writing might not involve your character directly at all, but the little things that you have established might be a good way to add you into the narrative without detracting you. It's a good way of having you feel like you're part of it. I also then talked about the pack. The most important unit of structure, of grouping within garou society. And the fact is, your players are going to have a pack. That is them. And this pack should be treated just like a character like the rest of them, except it's a character that is defined by all of them combined. And it has a lot of the same traits as a character, especially when it comes to where it mixes in with garou society. And that is the key importance of the pack. In the next episode, I'm going to talk more about the pack and a little bit about how your players can start to build their own pack together. But if you have any questions, comments, anything you want to say, anything you think I left out, please leave in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. It shows support of the channel, the Empire, the work I do. If you want to show some extra support, you can always check out my Patreon. Link description below. Regardless, until the next time, I bid you farewell.